Kevin, otherwise known as Forum BX257, here to bring you another vintage G.I. Joe toy review. And today I'll be looking at the G.I. Joe small playset, the 1984 Watchtower. I feel it's necessary to go over the construction of the Watchtower in its separate pieces to demonstrate the major flaw of the Watchtower. As you can see, it has two of these short sidewalls and two sidewalls that have the legs attached to them. These two sidewalls have these angled pegs which are supposed to go onto the holes in on these sidewalls with the legs on them. And they go in and then they go downwards. However, the holes on these portions are really not very big. And what happens is that most people, when they put this thing in for the first time, they snap these pegs off completely. And here we have the completed Watchtower, just minus its flag, which I'm going to plant right now. Putting this on makes the Watchtower one of the tallest small playsets ever. Unfortunately, this is where we kind of run into the second of the three problems of the Watchtower, and these green portions, they're sandbags, and they just sit right on top. Unfortunately, they have these peg and hold type deals, which normally are very sturdy and very uncomplicated, but these just don't seem to want to go in. Mine goes in on the one side, but on the other side, I've had to use some blue tack in order to keep it on there. It doesn't look too bad, I don't think. And of course, the third and final unfortunate problem is this thing has a little door, which is really cool. I'll admit that's really cool. But the door has these tiny little peg hinges in here, which I've always kept assembled, because I mean, once they're in there, these tiny little pegs, they're going to break off if you open this door enough times. Now the Watchtower comes with a searchlight and a little machine gun with a handle on the end. And well, these are actually reused designs from the 1983 headquarters. Now, as you can see, the clips just go onto the walls. There's actually not a lot of places you can actually put them, but you can put them on either side or kind of onto one side or the other. That's actually up to your choice. I suppose the artwork on the box is a tiny bit misleading because it has one figure actually in the Watchtower box, another figure kind of moving up into it. But the fact of the matter is that the green sandbag lip actually encroaches in on the space, pokes that allows the figure to poke out of the top here. So once you put a single figure in there, a second figure is a little bit tight. To be quite honest, this is really only meant for a single figure. I hate to make a comparison between the 1984 Watchtower and the 1985 Checkpoint, which came after it, but I believe the Checkpoint does sort of overshadow the Watchtower. Now, a lot of people understand that there are a lot of fragility in the old Watchtower, whereas the Checkpoint is a very sturdily built small playset. I think the Watchtower is best suited to just be on its own, whereas the Checkpoint is something which you would probably use in front of a larger playset. Of course, there is also more room on the top box for at least 3 figures in the Checkpoint, whereas I've already pointed out there only seems to be room enough for just a one. On top of that, let's face it, the guns on the Checkpoint are also round pegs, so you can actually swivel the guns around, whereas on the Watchtower, those are clips and you can't spin them around at all. Well, that's all the time I have right now. Please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind-the-scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then.